well, Iran is probably the second, may even be the first with the largest reserves. Iran is the biggest player, and Iran has refused to submit. And if you will not submit to Israeli hegemony over the region, you are the enemy, because by definition, that hegemony extends to us and to the banking interests that I've talked about in London and New York City.
Well, if the fighting now, for all of these reasons, would be revived, grabbing the oil, disrupting some of the connectivity between Iran, the Russians, and the Chinese, how would the U.S. and Israel be able to do it different? Because what will be your lessons, I guess, from the war that just finished? Because it appears to many that Iran came out as a winner in terms of it was much stronger than people expected. Israel came out looking much weaker than countries existed, which is a very dangerous thing for Israel, given that it's a small country in that region. So it needs to have a sufficient deterrence. So it kind of enjoyed this position where everyone feared the Iron Dome, and if anyone tried to go against Israel, they would be demolished. So how are they able to turn things around with Iran? Is it possible to simply do the same thing over again with more missiles? Because you mentioned Larry Johnson and his assessment of what was destroyed in Israel. It appears that a lot of the industrial capacity and the military was hit quite bad as well. So it's they're not going to be able to get back at the fighting power they had before. But do you have any assessment on Iran versus Israel there, if they will be more prepared? In terms of this connection you just spoke about with Russia, China, do they have are they supplying the Iranians now, or refurnishing or rebuilding their missile capabilities? I'm just wondering how the next round of the war would look like.
Well, the Russians and the Chinese are engaged in kind of burden-sharing arrangement with Iran. In other words, both are supporting Iran. They're supporting Iran in different ways. In other words, each is supplying different things, different capabilities. The Chinese just announced they're shipping, I guess, or it may have already arrived, I don't know, 40 new fighter jets. These are the newest fourth-generation fighters that China has, and supposedly they'll eventually reach a total of 127. Now, just because they show up doesn't mean that the fighters will all be extremely effective. I mean, you've got to train people, you have to maintain it, but I'm sure the Chinese will provide lots of support in that connection. The Russians, on the other hand, are very involved on the integrated air defense side, and also with the missiles, although Iran's own indigenous missile production capability and technology is excellent.
سرچ مدیا